Perfect. So hopefully you can see the screen and everything. So this is the design I'm going to be talking about. So if you want to create this design and also offer it in multiple sizes, say 4x6 or an 8x10, you do not have to recreate everything from scratch. So we have our kitty yoga design here. And so let's say I want to offer this in a 4x6. So the easiest way to do this is to go over here to our Save As button. Click Save As, and it's going to make a copy of your design and open it in a new tab. So I'm going to rename this one Kitty Yoga 4x6, so I know which design this is. And see, it is going to open it in another tab. It is still the 5x7, even though I renamed it 4x6. So over here in the left, on the left-hand side in the panel under Info, I'm going to go down to Design Settings and change it to a 4x6. So this is going to clip the design a little bit. It does not automatically resize all the elements on the screen. So the easiest way to do this is I'm going to ungroup this layer here. I'm going to select all the layers. I can click the first one and hold down Shift, and it will automatically select all the entire layers. And now I can move the entire design as one element. So I can go up here and resize it. And now I have my kitty yoga sign in a 4x6. Super easy, not very difficult. And now I can save this. Now let's say I also want to make this in 8x10. I just do the same thing. Save As, Kitty Yoga 8x10. This will open the design in a new tab. Still a 4x6. I go under Info. I change it to 8x10. And it will resize. So now I need to change the elements. So I can either click on all the layers and select them all, or I can click on the canvas and drag my mouse over and it will automatically select all the layers as well. And I can expand it here too. That and save. We have a question someone had asked how to create grouping in our layers. So if I want to go to my layer panel on the right, and let's say I want to group all of these cute little cat clip art images, I can click on all of my cat images here, and then right click on the layer panel and hit Group Layers. And this will create a group of all those layers. I can even rename them. So I can rename it to Cat Images. And there you go. It is super simple. Clicking the Save As button really helps to save time, so you don't have to recreate all of your designs in multiple sizes. Now, if I want to add all of these designs to a single listing, I'm going to open up my listings here and create my new listing. So these are going to be my kitty yoga. If I could spell right, there we go. Save. Now it opens my brand new listing here. I will scroll down to the bottom and click Add Designs to Listings and search for my kitty yoga. And here they all are. I have all three sizes that I just recreated. And now I can click and drag and drop them into the Added Designs box that is over here on the right. So I have my 4x6, my 5x7, and my 8x10. I click Done. And I love that Corjl has, you can change the thumbnail so you know what listing you're talking about. So I have the thumbnail here. And then the most important step is to make sure that you save your listing. So I selected the demo URL. So now I'm going to go to our demo here. And here I have my 4x6, my 5x7, and my 8x10 all in my listing here. So now I can offer this listing in my shop, and my customers can look through and decide if they want to buy a 5x6, a 4x7, 8x10, whatever you want to add to this listing here. So it's very simple, not very hard, using the Save As button really does help save time so you do not have to recreate everything. I'm going to pass the time over to Tara, and she's going to show us how to do our clipping masks, and then she will start into our Q&A section. All right, Tara, go for it.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Tara. I am the Seller Success Manager at Corjl. I've been here for a little over 2 years. I love the company. I think my favorite thing about it is watching all of the amazing things that you guys do with the platform. It is so fun to see our sellers. You guys are so smart and so creative and coming up with ways that Corjl can work for you and help you be successful in your businesses. So that has been my favorite part. So today I'm going to be talking about clipping masks. Clipping masks are actually one of my favorite features about Corjl. I have like a photography photo card background, and so I think the clipping mask feature is just super awesome. It opens the door for a lot of different kinds of designs, and so I'm going to kind of talk you through some of the tips and tricks that we have for that. One of the questions I saw a question on Facebook the other day that was asking about clipping masks, saying, you know, is clipping masks the best way for me to allow my customers to use photos in my designs? And my answer is absolutely yes. I think that clipping masks is the most effective way and the best way to allow customers to use their own photos in your designs. There's a couple of other ways you can do it. One of the ways that people will use photos in their designs is the cutout method, where you have like a PNG background image, kind of where you've cut out like squares and windows and put the photos in those behind those windows. And that's kind of the old way that we used to do things. When clipping masks came along, it kind of changed that. One of the reasons that I don't recommend that is because especially if you're using a design with lots of photos, and let's be honest, customers love photos. They love to have tons of photos of their kids, of their families, of their dogs. So most people want to have, even if you just have one photo on the front, maybe they want kind of a collage of photos on the back. And those windows just make it really hard to do that because you have to line multiple photos just right. There's a lot of overlap sometimes between images. Customers have to understand that they need to move this above this and this behind that. So in my opinion, that's not my favorite way to set up a design. That's why I think clipping masks are so great, because they avoid all of those issues and just allow customers to click, replace that image. It's going to automatically be clipped in that space and that frame. Because clipping mask, in my mind, is really like a crop tool. It's like a built-in crop tool for your designs. So that's probably why I wouldn't recommend the window method. You can, I think it works great if you're only using maybe 1 or 2 photos though. Another way that people use photos is that sometimes they'll ask, well, what if I just put the photos on the canvas and then they just not in a clipping mask and not in a window, and they just click and replace it with their own? You can do that. The problem that I have seen that we run into is, let's say you have a photo that's a portrait shape, and then they go and replace it with a landscape shape photo, a wide photo, and it's really not going to fit for them in that design. So that's another reason why I personally think that clipping masks are the way to go. So let's talk about some of the troubleshooting and some little tips and tricks that we can do when we're using clipping masks. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so here we have a simple design setup that's set up ready to go to use clipping masks. It's graduation season, so I thought I'd go ahead and use that theme. This design could be a card, it could be a poster, anything that you wanted it to be. So I already have, when you're using clipping masks in Corjl, you have to start with a shape. The shape is going to be what you're going to be clipping your photo to. You can choose from our shape gallery right here, over here on the left. You can see all the different shapes that we have. You do at this time have to use the shapes that we have provided in the shape gallery. In the future, we're hoping to expand that to allow other shapes, but for right now, that's what you're going to be using. So I've used these 3 square shapes in my design here. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and add one of my photos and clip it to this shape. Let's go over here. We'll pick one of our graduate photos. So to create a clipping mask, it's really easy. You want to position your photo that you want to clip above the shape that you want, that you're going to be using. And so that's going to be this middle shape right here. I'm going to take my photo, and then I'm going to, so make sure that it's over the shape. I'm going to come over here to my layers. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose create clipping mask, and boom. Now my photo has been clipped to this shape. I've got my clipping mask set up, ready to go. So there's a lot of ways when you're setting up a design for your customers. What you're going to be using, this image right here is a placeholder image. Okay, that's obviously, this isn't my customer's image, and they're going to want to replace this image with their own. But for right now, I'm going to put a placeholder there so that when they log into their order, they know that they're going to click on that image and use the replace image button and swap it out for their own. It's really easy. There's a few different ways you can go about doing that. In this instance, I've just used just a stock photo that I've placed there, and you can see when they log in, they'll see that stock photo and they'll be like, okay, that's where my photo goes, and they'll click on it. Another thing that I think is really smart that I've seen other sellers use for placeholder images is something similar to this. So I have this image over here. So you can create your own image that has instructions on it. That also can be super helpful. So for this one, it's already set up. I've already made this image. It has the text on it, has the short instructions on it. I'm going to set that over here for my other clipping mask. And that can be, this method is really helpful. Let's use that create clipping mask here, because the instructions are written right on it. Customer logs in, they look at the design, they say, oh, okay, click here to add photo. That is very clear. So I kind of like this method as well, but it's up to you, however you want to set up your design, whether you have a stock photo. You could even take text and merge it onto a stock photo so that it says click here on top of this stock photo that we have here. There's lots of ways that you can set it up. The main idea and the main goal is to just make it easy for your customers to understand when they're editing their design that, oh, okay, for me to change this with my photo, I just need to click here. And I would even, on this image that I created, add maybe then click replace image button. I might add that as well, so that they know, click here, click on the replace image button, boom. So it's very simple. So let's talk a little bit about troubleshooting some of this design. So we've added our clipping masks here. We have our shapes. Now, when you look closer at some of these photos now, you can see a faint outline of the black from the shapes behind it. So if you don't want to have any kind of a border or outline on your photos when you're using clipping masks, you're going to want to do some fix up these shapes so that they don't show that black outline. And there's a couple of ways we can do that as well. So for this shape, let's, for example, under our middle grad photo, we're going to come over here. We're going to click on that style, on that rectangle that we're using, and go over to style shape. The quickest and easiest way to get rid of that line is to come to this fill box and just uncheck the fill. So now that shape the fill has been removed. And if you notice, it instantly removed that little black outline that we have on the clipping mask. It's no longer there, and they're not going to see that anymore. So that's probably the fastest way to do that. There's maybe a small drawback to doing that, and doing that way is that, let's say if I come later, change this to a different photo or start rearranging my photo, I no longer see that shape behind the image. It can be a little confusing, like if customers add their photo, it doesn't automatically fill that space. They don't know that that frame is as wide as it is because they can't see it anymore. So for example, I don't know that if I really want this photo to fill this space correctly, I'm going to need to continue to drag this to make it a little larger. So that's one way. Yes, it does get rid of the line, and I think that's an option, but do keep in mind that it does remove that shape now that they can't see that frame that they're using for that photo. And if that's something that you want to avoid, I would say the other tip that I have for you is to come back. We're going to select this rectangle again, go to style shape. I'm going to put the fill back inside of it, but this time I'm going to change the fill color. I'm just going to change it to a very light gray. Okay. And I'm going to add that color. So I've now changed the fill color on my shape, the shape that I'm using for my clipping mask, to a very light gray. Now you can no longer see that black outline around my photo. But if the customer does exchange this for a different shaped photo or a different, it wants to resize it, when they start to resize it, they can still see that frame where the photo is supposed to go. So this is, and that may help them a little bit more to understand, oh, okay, I need to make sure that this photo fills that entire space. So that's another tip, just another way that you can do things that might help your customers. Because remember, the goal is for them to have as clear of understanding of, okay, my photo goes here and it fills this space. Let's see. So another question that we get with our clipping masks is, should I lock my clipping mask? Should I lock my shape layer? And the answer to that is no, do not lock your shape layer for a photo clipping mask, okay? When I lock this rectangle layer right here, it's actually going to also lock the photo image that goes above it that I'm using a clipping mask, and your customers are not going to be able to swap that photo out with their own photo. So you don't want to lock that. Instead, what you're going to want to do, if you don't want if you're worried that your customers might move around these the shapes that we're using for clipping masks, you can freeze that shape. And that's what we're going to want to do instead. So you just come to your shape, you're going to right click on it. You're going to come over here to our freeze options and select frozen. That way I can't move this around. I can't change the shape of it anymore, but I'll still be able, if I want to change the color or the fill, I can still do that. And I can still edit the photo that's going to be on top of that clipping mask. So I would say for sure, you're going to want to freeze that instead of locking it. Do not lock your shapes when you're using photo clipping masks. So let's take a look really quick at how this looks for our customers. This is the customer view. And you can see I've got my two clipping masks. When I click on this photo, the replace image lights up. So that is an option for you to do. I also have my click here to add photos, click there, and then I see my replace image over here. And I understand, okay, to add my photo, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace that image. So you just want to make your instructions as clear as possible for your customers as they're working on these cards. A lot of some of the issues that we see is maybe customers deleting their photos. We're also going to be working on ways to prevent that from happening. That's one of the reasons why, to avoid them, sometimes they'll stretch instead of just using these corner dots. You want to encourage them to use the corner to resize these images as much as possible, because when they use the top or the side, they're going to distort that photo and it is not going to look right. So you want to encourage your customers and to use these corners as much as possible. So I think the number one thing is, when you're using clipping masks, you just really want to make sure that you have clear instructions that your customers understand. Okay, I'm going to click here. I'm going to use the replace image. I'm going to use the corner dots to resize my photo, and I'm not going to stretch my photo wider or smaller. So you can create that in your own instructions. Corjl actually has some great short instructional videos for customers on our YouTube page. It's under our customer instructions section that just goes through those bullet points. Don't stretch your photos, use the corners to resize it. And you can always link to that video in your own instructions. You can also create, I've seen sellers create animated GIFs that they will put over here on the side for their instructions that show how you resize different images, and that's really helpful too. So that's kind of the basics for our photo clipping masks. So now we're going to talk about text clipping masks. That's kind of the same thing, but a different animal. So let's talk about our graduate word here. Let's say I want to make this fancy. I love our text clipping mask feature because it really allows you to add really realistic textures and images onto your text. So let's say we want to make this graduate a little fancy. I'm going to take, again, my image that I want to clip to my text, and I'm going to add that to my design. It does need to be over the top of the text. So over here, you can see that it's on top of the text. And I'm going to come over here, right click, create clipping mask, and boom, I have my new shiny, sparkly graduate text. And that text is going to be editable so that my customers can edit it to whatever they want, but still keep that, that glitter layer on top of it. So let's talk about with the text, we do have a little bit of that same issue where sometimes you can see that black outline. If your text, whatever color your text is, you can see that outline. Same thing as with the clipping mask. You can come over here. You can go to our style text. You can change the opacity of the text beneath it, and that is going to get rid of that line for you so that you can't see it anymore. Another thing that you can do is you can come over here and change the text color to a lighter color. And that also is going to make it so that you don't have that black line, little outline around your text. So that's a way to troubleshoot that issue. The other question that we get is about locking and freezing with our text. So unlike our images where we've wanted to freeze our shape with our photo clipping mask, we do not want to freeze our text. If we freeze our text, they won't be able to edit it. But what we do want to do is in this instance, we do want to lock this rainbow glitter layer, the texture layer that we're using on our text. The reason for this is if we do not lock this texture layer, when they go to click on this text, they're not going to select that text. They're going to select the glitter layer, and they're not going to be able to edit the text underneath it unless they know that they have to come over here to the layers and actually click on that wording here in the layers panel. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to lock the texture layer that we're using over the text. I like to lock and hide it just because it's less confusing for our customers, but you don't have to hide it. Just make sure that it's locked. So that is and our tips and tricks for using clipping masks with either photos and text. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any other questions, like I said, these are some of my favorite features because they really allow you to just do fun designs and jazz things up. But if you have any other questions on how to do that, just let us know. Okay, so I'm done with my portion of the tutorials, and let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. So I know everybody is anxiously awaiting updates on Corjl 2.0. We saw it, we see you, we hear you, we know on Facebook group that you guys are dying for an update, and we totally understand that. This has been a really crazy year for us, just like it has been for everybody else. Corjl has been crazy. And we've kind of had setbacks just like everybody else because of Corjl. But I promise that we are anxiously working on Corjl 2.0 as much as we possibly can. All of our resources, and when I say all our resources, I am not kidding, are working towards getting this product out. We are super excited about it. When we first started working on Corjl 2.0, we had some ideas of kind of what you guys wanted and what we wanted it to be. Can I tell you that it has really, one of the reasons it's taking us a while to get this done is because we are taking it to the next level. I think that what we have right now for Corjl 2.0 has totally exceeded our expectations, and I know for sure that it's going to exceed your expectations as well. So I know that it has been frustrating. You guys have been really patient, but it is going to be worth the wait because we are really putting our heart and soul into making this the best product that we possibly can. What I can tell you is, we're going to include all the features that we've been talking about. It's going to have the multi-shop. It's going to have the team assistant accounts. It's going to be a more stable platform. It's going to be a faster platform. It's going to be able to handle these images and these designs, any that you're wanting to do. So it is really going to be a better product all around. We're also going to be giving you a way to organize and catalog and your fonts, your images, all your designs. You guys are going to be able to be so organized. It's going to be like Marie Kondo in your Corjl account. It's going to be awesome. So we're excited about what's coming. We've been keeping track of all the feature requests you guys send us, all of the suggestions. I'm not kidding. We have like a huge long list of all of these many suggestions, and we listen to every single one of them. We may not be able to include everything in our, in this first release, but it is there, and we're excited. When you guys come up with ideas, we get excited about those ideas too. So once 2.0 gets released, we just feel that it's going to be a platform that we're going to be able to implement new features on a much rapid basis. So we are looking forward to it. I wish I could give you guys an exact time frame on when this is going to get released. I can't do that, not because I don't want to, but because honestly, we're working day by day on this. But I promise that As soon as we get to a point where, you know, we're ready, you guys are going to be the first to know. Stay posted on our Facebook group. That's where we're going to post our updates. That's where we're going to ask, you know, when it comes time to test, that's where we're going to be reaching out. So just keep posted on our Facebook group. I promise you guys, it's going to be worth the wait. Thank you so much for your patience. It is coming along. It is real, and it's going to be awesome. So that's our Corjl 2.0 update. I'm going to do, to wrap things up, we're going to do a little question and answer. I have these lovely colorful dots. We have a distribute tool in Corjl. So if you want to evenly space things out on the canvas, the way that the distribute tool works is it works between the two farthest items. So let's say you've got your circles here and you have a circle over here, and you want to evenly distribute these two circles right here in the middle without spending a lot of time trying to get it just right. You just put one item as far to the left as you want it, put the other item as far to the right. We're going to select all of these. We're going to right click and go to distribute, and we're going to go to center horizontally. And now these have been spaced exactly the same in between all 4 of these items. So that's our distribute horizontally tool. Let's say you want to do it vertically. You're going to put your top item here, your bottom item here. And let's say we're going to be distributing these 2 items here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to right click. I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to center vertically. And now these have all been exactly spaced in between, evenly between the 2 items. So the distribute tool works between the 2 furthest items. You can distribute items evenly between the 2 furthest items. So whatever you have here on the edge of your design, here on the edge of your design, it's going to distribute in between these 2 items. So hopefully that answers your question. I think that is all that I had. So I am going to hand this back to Ashley for her to answer some of her questions now.
Thank you so much, Tara. I've been working at Corjl for a little over a year, and I still learn new things every day. So thank you. So the first question I'm going to address is something I see often, is the best practices for uploading images. So we have all of this written out for you to see as well. So I'm going to share my screen and show you where you can find this. All right, if you go to our main Corjl website, underneath resources and knowledge base is where we have a lot of helpful hints and popular articles here, frequently asked questions. We have questions about your account, how to connect shops, orders, settings, features. We have tons of information here for you if you get stuck and need help. So for this one, you can type in best practices for images, and it'll come up right here. So you have an image that is a 36 by 36 sized image, and you're wanting to upload it onto your design for a 5 by 7. You don't need a super large image for your design. So if you upload your photo into another program like Photoshop, you can resize the image. So when you're uploading it into Corjl, it does not take super long to download or super long to upload. Another thing is that if you are also buying your images, or you are creating your design in Corjl, you might have a PNG file with transparent pixels around the image. Now, if you have a 2 by 2 image on your canvas and the entire transparent canvas is a lot larger, you can crop that image to help eliminate all the pixels around it. And then our third tip for uploading images is the less images in your design is better. Now, I don't mean eliminate all your images total, but if you have, for example, a milestone chalkboard design and you have a whole bunch of images all around it, and these are really large images, it is going to take a long time to download for you and your customer. So you want to flatten as many images as you can into the background of your image. So you can flatten all the images right in Corjl. For the background images, you can just save that image, save it as a JPEG or a PNG, and then re-upload it into Corjl as the background. So your customer only has to pay attention to the text and editing everything there. So the more images you have flattened to the background, the better. A question that was sent to us was, can I integrate Corjl designs to my WordPress site, or do I need a new site with Shopify? So we are currently not integrated with WordPress, but you are still certainly able to use Corjl for other platforms that we are not integrated with. And this is by using our manual orders and our direct links. So these were created for the purpose of using them outside of our integrated platforms. Currently, we are integrated with Etsy, Shopify, and WooCommerce. So if you do not have a shop or your business is not associated with one of those, you can use manual orders and direct links. The only difference by using these two options is that the orders will not be automated from Corjl. You will have to go into your Corjl dashboard, type in the customer's email, and add the designs that you want, and then send the email off. And it will still be from Corjl, but it will not be sent out automatically like it would be if you're purchasing it from Etsy. Now, these
Well,
are
actually, really quick, except if you're using the direct links. You can automate things if you use the direct links. So direct linked is kind of it's a clickable link that every time they click on that link, whoever clicks on that link, they create a new order that does get created automatically. They're taken to Corjl, they log in, and they're given that design. So you don't have to, once you create your direct link and make it accessible, it is possible that it is kind of an automated system. But the manual orders, you're right, you do have to have an email address. You'll have to log in and create that individually for each person. So just wanted to throw that in. I think direct links are awesome. I get excited about direct links because there's just so many ways that you can use them. You know, you can embed them in a PDF file so when you distribute that PDF file, they can click and get access a design that way. There's just a lot of uses outside of Etsy, Shopify, and WooCommerce that Corjl can be used to help you make money and grow your business. So I get excited. Sorry.
Exactly. If you also have a website, you can also share the demo links that are created from Corjl, so your customers can see and play with the design and see how they like it and edit it, and then purchase the design from you, either using the direct link or the manual order as well. So you don't have to just limit it to Etsy, Shopify, or WooCommerce. So that is all the questions that we have for you today. If you have any more questions, you can throw them in the chat box right now, and we will look through them after this webinar and post them on our Facebook group. We will also share a recording of this onto our Facebook group. So if you want to come back and watch how to do a clipping mask, you can do that as well. I will also share the links to our knowledge base on our Facebook group. But thank you everyone for tuning in with us today. We were hoping to do some more webinars in the future. After doing this one, now we know what you guys want to hear. And always, you can ask us questions. You can email us to support@corjl.com. You can also contact us through our Facebook group or message us through the Facebook page. And also, we are on Instagram, so if you want to contact us there as well. So that is all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And again, stay posted on our Facebook group for more updates and some more tips and tricks. So have a great day, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.